Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to the Disaster Medicine Elective Module, present by Faculty of Medicine, Universitas Syiah Kuala. For all medical students who are interested in learning about disaster management, especially in health sector. As the person in charge of this elective module, I am Dr. Sabriza Rahman, an orthopedic surgeon. We will be working together with the team members, Dr. Rina Suryani Oktari, Dr. Taufik Suryadi, a forensic specialist, and Dr. Melia Silvalila, an emergency specialist. In addition, experts from the national level will also deliver the lectures, including from the National Disaster Management Agency, or BNPB, and the Minister of Health, Kemenkes. We will specifically invite international experts, including those from the World Health Organization or WHO, Griffith University Center for Environment and Population Health, and University Kebangsaan Malaysia or UKM, to increase insight into advancement of global disaster medicine. This module also emphasizes the importance of genuine cooperation between the medical profession and all components of society in disaster management. It is hoped that the future student would have the same perspective that it is difficult for medical profession to work alone in disaster management, and that instead they must be part of a system that can collaborate it with anyone. Nonetheless, medical professionals must be promoted in the futures by constantly updating knowledge and skill through various training. Doctor roles in patient care and patient safety will contribute significantly to any disaster management that can occur. This model is important given the Indonesian geographical location, which make it is disaster-prone countries where any disaster occur will have a significant impact on this health sector, including death, injury, damage to health facility problem in IDPs or internal displacement people camps, such as clear waters, sanitation, infection disease, and so forth. Therefore, medical students must be equipped with the fundamental awareness of disaster, including what skill that they must possess and how they might communicate, coordinate, and synchronize with the disaster victim, their families, and others parties involved in managing various types of disasters.
Bergerak menuju lokasi bencana. Sebelum kita bergerak menuju lokasi bencana, ada satu hal yang ingin saya tekankan kepada kalian.
This model will be implemented in a blended manner, asynchronous and synchronous. The weight of this disaster medicine model is 3-credit semester system. Participants who take this model are medical students who are currently undergoing in semester 7. The maximum number of participants in this model is 40 students. This model will be carried out for 4 weeks and consists of 3 modules that will be explained later. Students who take this module will access learning videos and will be given assignments. Group discussions will be conducted to prepare for the disaster day simulations at the end of this module. Learning achievements of disaster medicine's model are: first, able to understand, analyze, and explain about disaster overview and Ministry of Health regulations. Second, able to understand, analyze, and explain and perform efforts related to disaster risk reductions, including health risk assessment, health emergency disaster risk management, climate change adaptations. Third, able to understand, analyze, explain, and perform efforts related to disaster preparedness, including contingency plan, hospital disaster plan, disaster vulnerability map or hazard map, tabletop exercise, and disaster day simulation or drill. Fourth, able to understand, analyze, explain, and perform efforts related to disaster response, including rapid health assessment, incident command system, basic medical competency in field disaster handling, IMT, SPEAR standard, emergency medical team, mass disaster victim identification, and fifth, able to understand, analyze, explain, and perform efforts related to disaster recovery, including preventions of infectious disease, protections of vulnerable groups, nutrition, mental health, and reproductive health.
Melakukan observasi dan mengamankan lokasi bencana serta di bagian baratnya, kemudian di sini.
The implementation of disaster management consists of 3 stages. First stage is pre-disaster, which include prevention, mitigation, preparedness, and early warning activities. Prevention is activities and measures to avoid existing and new disaster risks. Prevention, example disaster prevention, express the concept and intention to completely avoid potential adverse impact of the hazardous event, while certain disaster risks cannot be eliminated. Prevention aims at reducing vulnerability and exposure in such contexts where, as a result, the risk of disaster is removed. Mitigation, defined as the lessening or minimizing of the adverse effect of a hazardous event, the adverse impact of hazard. In particularly natural hazard often cannot be prevented fully, but their scale or severity can be substantially lessened by various strategies and action. Mitigation measures include engineering technique and hazard resistant construction, as well as improved environmental and social policies and public awareness. Preparedness, defined as the knowledge and capacities developed by government, response, and recovery organizations, communities, and individuals to effectively anticipate, respond to, and recover from the impact of likely, imminent, or current disaster. Early warning, defined as the provision of timely and effective information through identified institutions that allows individuals exposed to hazards to take action to avoid or reduce their risks and prepare for effective response. Second step is emergency response. When a disaster occurs, which include emergency response activities to relieve temporary suffering, such as search and rescue activities, emergency assistance, and evacuation. Third stage is post-disaster, which include recovery, rehabilitation, and reconstruction activities. Recovery is the restoring or improving of livelihood and health, as well as economic, physical, social, culture, and environmental assets, system, and activities of a disaster-affected community or society, aligning with the principle of sustainable development and will back better to avoid or reduce future disaster risks. The recovery process consists of rehabilitation and reconstruction.
Mungkin sini tata laksana awalnya sama seperti itu.
Kemudian untuk bagian kaki di sini, untuk bagian kaki bentuknya itu lagi.
In general, there are 3 modules that will be delivered: disaster risk reduction, disaster response, and disaster recovery. First module is disaster risk reduction. The topic include introduction to disaster, national policy for disaster management, national disaster medical system, legal aspect of disaster medicine, public health aspect of disaster medicine, hazard vulnerability analysis, and health emergency and disaster risk management. Healthcare worker competencies for disaster, and also hospital disaster plan. And then the second module is disaster response. The topic include incident command system, spare standard, emergency medical team or AMT, disaster victim identification or DVI, tabletop exercise, and the last module is disaster recovery. The topic include recovery management in health sector. The assessment mechanism in this elective module will be based on the following component: assessment or project 20%, quiz 20%, disaster day exercise 10%, and 50% for final exam. The pass limit value for this module is greater than or equal to 69 or B. A certificate will be awarded to students who pass the exam.